Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Dr. Psych Mom Show. Today, I'm going to be talking about the love language of quality time and how many people really kind of diminish this love language, not unlike any love language that isn't your own. And I'll talk about ways around that and how to perceive this love language if it's not yours, which is always tough. Empathy is tough. When something is not your experience, obviously, viscerally, you do not have an understanding of it. So then you need to understand it analogously by comparing it to your own experiences, which I will help you through. And of course, do subscribe. My most recent subscriber episode was on if you should choose a therapist similar to you or different. I have over 165 other episodes. If you subscribe, closing in on 170. And really, if you are interested in self-development and self-awareness, I mean, you really can't do better than less than $9 a month for unlimited episodes that I come out with all the time by 25% more than you would get for free. Okay, so what is the quality time love language? It's when you feel close through spending time together, basically like most children. And that's of course not condescending because the physical touch love language is like most children. Gifts is like most children. Children are great. If they don't get abused and neglected and shit, then, they have all the love languages. Children love love. However, unfortunately and sadly, I see a lot of people who are abused and neglected as children. And that really shapes your love language because you often think that, nobody's ever going to really love you. So you got to kind of moderate your expectations from life, which is very sad, when you think about it like that. And it may be very relevant to you. And I hope, honestly, that when I do these podcasts, that at least one person thinks about their situation differently. Otherwise I really wouldn't do that. So with quality time, you want to be spending chore time together, errand time together. This is usually great until you have children. When you have children, then you do the divide and conquer mentality, and that often divides you as a couple, and conquers any chance you have to get laid if you're a guy. So a lot of men are really into efficiency. So are women, obviously. But a lot of men specifically tell me that it's inefficient to do chores and errands together. And then this, dovetails with, this whole idea of if I take everything off my wife's plate, then she'll be ready for physical intimacy. So these guys aren't saying that she should do all the chores herself, not even by a long shot. They're saying, if anything, they're doing the other side. They're saying, I'll do all the chores. You just do what you want. Do what you want to do, which, of course, the woman's like, I don't ever fucking do what I want to do because I have children, idiot. Don't you realize we have children? But anyway, he's saying, I'll do the shit work. I'll do the chores. I'll do the grocery shop, whatever. And then later we'll have fun and hang out. So we've been apart all day, but then somehow magically later we are going to be reunited, same as we were in the honeymoon stage. If we had to spend a day apart, we would fall into each other's arms. And since it worked like that then, why doesn't it work like that now? Well, because everything's different now, obviously. You are no longer drunk on love. You're no longer in your 20s. There's a lot of shit different. So what happens instead is the woman, if she has a quality time love language, which I do see more than in men, although both have it, but men often have physical touch as their primary. And women can have physical touch, but usually not a secondary. Sometimes it's a primary. Sometimes it's a secondary, more often. And anyway, so the woman has a quality time love language. And then the man says basically, not only, of course, I have to work and you have to work and whatever. Maybe you don't have to work. Maybe I work so much so you don't have to work. Either way, I'm gone at least 40 hours a week. And of course, then that goes without saying, definitely. And of course, some guys telecommute and so they're around like a little bit more and that's fine. That's great. And I'll talk about that more soon. But then on top of that, of course, we have life activities. And so let's say we got like 20 more hours a week of that stuff. Well, let's just divide it up. And then, you could take a nap. I'll take the kids. You could do this. You could do that. You take one. I take the other. We'll outsource. This is the big one. We'll outsource the groceries. We'll outsource the home project. We'll outsource anything we have to do. If we have to paint a room, don't worry. I already hired somebody to do it. And then we're going to have a lot of fun and a lot of sex because you're going to be so well rested and you are going to be so impressed with how the house is running like a finely, tuned machine. And so then we are just going to fuck. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that because all the time that you have spent apart, your wife is feeling lonely. And lonely is not an aphrodisiac. Now, if you're really Mr. Efficient, you don't even really text her during the time that you're apart because you're maximizing, man. You are multitasking. You are driving to get the car filled up with gas. Then you get there and then you answer a whole bunch of work emails. And then on the way to the grocery shop, you're listening to a podcast. Hopefully it's this one so that you turn around and go back home. And then you are, of course, again, doing work emails. And then you got to text back your mom and your buddy. And then by the time you get home, you're like, oh, I didn't text her, but I'm home now. I did everything so fast. I left the house at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. for work. I did all this shit afterwards. So now it's like 8 p.m. And hey, I am ready to party. By party, I mean sit on the couch, cuddle, TV, and sex. That could be nice. And if she didn't miss you all day, then great. There's a lot of women who do want you to do a lot of shit for them, because they're busy. And during that time, she was optimizing by being with the children. And you do need to do all those things. So therefore, you gave her time to be with the kids. Now, if you don't have children, this is not relevant. You got basically a lot of time. So, you could both go and do whatever. But children go to sleep at a certain time. So you got a hard stop there and you have their various schooling and whatever. So you got more constrictions. And, just as a parenthetical, if you're unhappy and you don't have kids, you know what I think about that. I say it all the time. Don't be together. Don't be together. If you're a young couple and you're having problems even before children, it's not going to get better. I can give you if you join my secret Facebook group, about 10,000 women, no, it's like 430 people in there, half of whom are women, but at least 100 women will say, girl, get out of that situation if you're not happy before kids. And if a man joins, all of the men will say, and, of course, there's cross-gender conversation. It's not segregated by gender who's allowed to talk to who. But, and the men and the women and me, if a man is unhappy, let's say with the sex life and they're married and they don't have kids yet, we'll say, get the hell out of Dodge. You think it's going to get better? Get out now, before you have children. And then it's a much bigger deal to separate. But that is just, end parentheses there. So back to the quality time. If she feels that you are doing errands and chores, and then forget about that, errands and chores is one thing. Then you got your work travel, and I just did a whole podcast. Now it'll turn out to have been a month ago by the time you hear this, on which women are okay with longer work hours and work travel and which aren't. Well, hint, the ones who like quality time aren't. And so then you want to add in social life and exercise and all of that. And while, sure, going for a 20-minute run is great for your cardiovascular health, going to weightlift for 45 minutes, but that's not what a lot of guys do. We got 4 hours of golf. You got 3 hours at the gym. You got 2 different workouts because you got one that you play a game with somebody and then one where you work out on your own. That stuff just sucks up your time, right? And it's really, really hard. I had a Facebook post about this that resonated with a lot of women, and some men got extremely upset and triggered. I said, if the culture of your marriage is everybody does what they want to do, I'll probably do this as my next podcast, honestly, but here's a little trailer. If the culture of your marriage is everybody does what they want to do, don't be surprised if when her sex drive goes down, she doesn't want sex anymore. Because you were doing everything you wanted all the time, all the sports, all the activities, all the travel, work whenever you want, maximize, optimize, everything for you. And she still wanted to have sex with you because she was young and she wants to have sex and you're there, and so she has sex with you. But, she likes you and loves you, whatever. And so, but the point is both men and women, when they want to have sex, they have sex. And then when she doesn't want to have sex anymore because her hormones change, then she's like, oh, we don't have sex anymore. He can't possibly want me to do something I don't want to do. I don't tell him to do things he doesn't want to do. He doesn't tell me to do things I don't want to do. So thus, now we don't have sex, And so I'll do a whole podcast on that. Honestly, it'll be the next one. So anyway, if you do not spend quality time, chores, errands, family time, including the children, and couple time with a woman with quality time, she feels like you're not married. Exactly the same as a man with physical touch love language doesn't feel like he's married if he's not having hugs, kisses, and sex. Right? It's truth. I mean, that's the truth. And that could be a real mind fuck for you. And it shouldn't be because people are different, but they respond. So like you can always use your own struggles, your own preferences, your own issues to be a metaphor for whatever the other person is experiencing. Or you could do a simile. You could put in like or as. Either way, you know what I mean. You could make an analogy with how you feel and how she feels. So if you go for 2 weeks and she didn't put her hand on your arm, she didn't kiss you, she didn't hug you, and you didn't have sex, you're kind of feeling like, am I even really married? Or is this just a business partnership? Now, for the woman with quality time, if you have sex, she hugs you, she kisses you, but you are like ships in the night besides for those 15 minutes of sex, and that would be long compared to many people who are feeling disconnected, or the guy doesn't know they're feeling disconnected, but the woman feels disconnected in this situation. So if you've not had any date night, any errands done together, any home project, any big discussions about, like hanging out and talking about like the kids or the future or like whatever it is, because a lot of quality time is conversation, which is great for people that like to converse verbally and can be anxiety provoking for men that do not, but you can always practice. That's, by the way, a very good thing in couples counseling. A lot of men leave couples counseling being like, oh shit, people talk about their feelings and their relationship like regularly. Oh, okay. I got a new skill. It's like when I tell women that not everybody stops having sex after marriage. And they're like, wait, what? And then frequently they'll have sex, because they literally grew up in a house where it was so sex negative. And they assume that after you procreate, you literally barely have sex again, unless like you get drunk or something and it's a Christmas party. And I'm like, no, people are having sex like all the time. Not all the time, but I mean, like weekly or something. They're like, no, married people? And I'm like, yes. They're like, no way. I'm like, no, yes, way. And they try, for real. And it's the same thing as men with the conversation. There's a lot of men. I always give this example of a time where I said to a guy, you gotta say I love you to your wife. And he says, oh yeah, good, I do that. And I said, do it frequently. And he says, all right. And something didn't seem right. So I was like, what do you think I mean? And he's like every month? I was like, no, like every day, multiple times a day. So that guy, obviously, they didn't say I love you a lot in his family, probably ever. They probably never said it. So he thinks he's doing awesome, saying it every month. Jesus Christ, 12 times a year. What is she doesn't forget? I mean, why am I even saying it that much? And it's the same thing for women who are raised very sex negative. They're like, wait, why would we have sex? I don't understand. I know men masturbate. That's cool. Do what you got to do, man. We had our children. Like, that's what marriage is about. That's what it's about. We have children, we have a family. And so then when you're like, no, this is like a different thing. This is how to actually have a healthy marriage. That's like an epiphany. People want to learn, by the way. It's like people really do want to learn. It's just a lot of people assume that their partner should have already known something that they don't know. So in this case, I'm telling all of the men, use it like an analogy about physical intimacy. Quality time. If she has not spent alone time with you where you're looking at each other, engaging and talking, doing life activities, being a teammate, if she doesn't have a montage of a few little video clips in her head over the past week of the two of you doing something side by side, she doesn't feel married. If she has a quality time love language, she does not feel married. She feels like how you feel like it's a business partnership if y'all don't have sex. She feels like it's a prostitution fucking ring. And you're like, yeah, my God, I could get so much more for the money I pay, toward the mortgage if I hired a prostitute. But no, even your boring sex life, she feels like all he wants is sex. This is how she feels. It's crazy, of course, because the sex is subpar and infrequent. I understand. And I did a whole podcast that says why you only want sex as an inane remark within marriage that I think is pretty funny. You should listen to it. But that's literally how she feels. Because from her perspective, you had sex twice in these past 2 weeks and you had zero quality time. So basically, you're getting 200% of what you want from her estimation, and she's getting 0% of what she wants. So therefore, you must be, obviously, you love the children. You want a life. You're a normal, like in her mind, this is a normal family life, and you understand that. So that stuff all cancels out. Anything you do for the family or for the kids, because they're your kids. And the thing that she wants most is couple time together, and she gets 0 and she still has sex. And that's how she feels. And when she stops wanting sex, it's often because of that. Her drive dipped with time, age, etc. And then she's like, oh, fuck this. You know, I mean, he's been getting what he wants for years more than I have. We never spend time together. We haven't had a conversation like 15 years of any magnitude. We don't do anything together. We're like ships in the night. The only time we spend together is family time. And then he takes the boy to play this and I take the girl to do that, or vice versa. And that's that. And so this is basically not a marriage. And that's how the woman feels. It's not happening yet, probably for most of you, but I'm giving you like the skip ahead to the future so that you can prevent the problem now. So what do? You start scheduling date nights. You start doing the errands together. You start viewing chores and time in the kitchen, time folding laundry, time that you're making lunches as potential quality time. If she is up and doing something, I've said this before, you should be up and doing something with her. If she gets up to make the lunches, you come to help make the lunches. If she sits down to watch TV, you sit down and watch TV. And if you do that even 10% more than you've been doing it, it'll be noticeable to her. I'm not saying you got to be glued to her, but instead of the default being, oh, good, she's busy, I'll go do my own thing. And it could very well be something for the family. As I said, it's not like she does lunches and you play video games. It could be she does lunches and you do yard work. But think about it. If your wife has a quality time love language, how does it go after she does lunches and you do yard work? And then it's too late to really hang out. And you're saying it's not me that says it's too late. Yeah, sure, it's not you. It's her. She's tired. Women get more tired. That's a thing. Women need more sleep, especially the second half of her cycle. She wants to hibernate. But point being, either way, it doesn't usually go like how you think. Right? I mean, it doesn't go like you go do yard work, she does the inside work, and then you fall into each other's arms and have amazing sex. No, it doesn't work like that because she felt lonely for that whole time. And if this you think is your situation, ask your wife. This could be a good one. This cannot offend her. I mean, of course, I could offend her by cursing, I guess. And, you know, in that case, I have many people on my practice who do not speak as directly as me. Best Life Behavioral Health. You could work with therapists or coaches. But aside from that, I said the F word, I think she will say, yeah, that is how I feel. I feel very lonely. And so then you can say, all right, how can we schedule in like 5 more hours a week of together time? Oh, and I did promise you, I don't have to do a PS because I remembered it. I promise you that I would say about telecommuting. If you have a wife with a quality time love language, working from home is the best thing you could possibly do. You're around all the time. This is time where people end up having sex in the afternoon sometimes because she sees you. You are hanging out. You're doing school drop off together. You're getting back. You only have one life and you're getting back your commute time in this one life that you have. You know, I am the biggest proponent of telecommuting. You just get back all that dead time. Then again, I'm an introvert. So for extroverts, getting out there, talking to people in real life is energizing. But if your marriage is in distress and your wife feels lonely, all the time that you can work from home, you should work from home, you know, or at least some of it, because that is a huge boon to couples where they're struggling with how to fit in time at a very time crunch time in life. If you get rid of the commute, it's so helpful because it gives you back hours sometimes. In some situations, gives you back hours a day. All right. I hope y'all enjoyed this. And the next one that you will hear, I will remember, will be that we do our own thing, culture of the marriage. All right. I hope you guys have a great day. Please do subscribe to get 25% more episodes. And if you ever need a therapist or a coach, Best Life Behavioral Health, my practice, I got 12 people working for me that are awesome. And I'll talk to everybody soon. Bye-bye.